let's get into some example problems. I know this first section was very vocabulary heavy. So example problems. So make sure you write example problems, highlight example problems so that when you submit your notes, I can see that you took the examples. You do not need to write the directions. This is optional. A lot of people like to write it, but that is optional. But what we are going to do is classify each number as rational or irrational and explain why in a complete sentence. So it doesn't have to be a novel, a paragraph, a thesis statement, but we do want a sentence. So take a minute if you need to set up 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you need to write number 1, 0.5. Give yourself a little space. Number 2, 2/3. Number 3, 6.23333. All right, so take a minute, set that up. Then I look at number 1, 0.5. Okay, that is a decimal. 0.5 is a decimal that ends. So, okay, I'm going to put rational because it is a decimal that stops, ends, terminates, however you want to say that. All right, this is not the only acceptable answer. You could say rational because 0.5 can be written as a fraction. Rational because 0.5 is the same as 1/2. So it is up to you how you want to write that. Okay, number 2, I see the fraction 2/3. I see the fraction. So for example 2, I'm going to say rational because, remember I need a complete sentence, rational because it is a fraction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a six letter sentence. Doesn't need to be a big sentence, but I need a sentence explaining. Rational because it's a fraction. Okay, number 3, I see a decimal. It goes on forever. It has the dot, dot, dot. I want to look and see if there are any patterns. So I see 6.232323 with the line. So that is a repeating pattern. 23232323. So it's a decimal with a repeating pattern. If you're not sure, you can answer. For example 3, I'm going to say rational because it has a repeating pattern, 232323. That's how I know it's rational. All right, number 4, square root of 6. So again, we are not using a calculator. So I'm going to go look at my perfect square chart, square root of 6. So I'm going to say irrational because square root of 6 is not a perfect square. Okay, so I am going to pause. If you need to pause for a second and get any of these examples, feel free to do so. All right, then take a minute and we're going to set up 5, 6, 7, and 8. So same thing as the first 4. So number 5, we have the number -8. Number 6, square root of 81. Number 7, 31.245. Number 8, 7.823096. So I would like you, once you've copied them down, to try on your own, pause the video, try on your own to see if you can figure out if these 4 numbers are rational and irrational and why. Okay, so number 5, -8. Sometimes people get thrown off by the negative number, but that is still an integer. As a hint, that is still an integer. So the correct answer for number 5 is rational because -8 is an integer. Okay, next, number 6, square root of 81. So make sure you look at your perfect square chart. Is looking at the numbers under the square roots, 1, 4, 9, those numbers, is 81 a perfect square? And you might know this one, and that is great if you know it already. So the correct answer is it is rational. Yes, it is rational. Okay, why? The square root of 81 is 9. Rational. Okay, so because the square root of 81 equals 9. Okay, and 9 is an integer, and that can be written as a fraction, 9 over 1. Negative 8 can be written as a fraction, negative 8 over 1. So if you said rational because square root of 81 is a perfect square, that's also fine. Rational because it can be written as a fraction, also fine. Those are all great answers. Number 7, 31.245 without the dot, dot, dot afterwards, without the dot, dot, dot. What did you say, rational or irrational? The correct answer is rational because the decimal stops or terminates, because the decimal all right, it doesn't go on forever. And that can be written as a fraction. It can be written as 31 and 245 thousandths. Just as a FYI, you don't need that, but just to show you. Okay, number 8, 7.823096 with the dot, dot, dot. Is this rational or irrational? And you might notice on 5, 6, or 7, they were all rational. Again, like I said, most numbers are rational. Number 8, though, is irrational. And remember, you have to have a reason why. So irrational because, and you need to have two parts to your reason, because it goes on forever. And, so you need both, and forever. And there is no pattern. And I'm not just trying to make your hand tired or be mean or strict. You really do need both parts, because if, for example, if you have 0.33333 that goes on forever, that is still rational because there is a pattern. So you really need to make sure in your answer, I know it's a little more writing, but you have to say irrational because it goes on forever and there is no pattern. So I'm going to zoom out. If you need to pause and copy 5, 6, 7, or 8 at all, then what you're going to do is you are going to take your pen or pencil or whatever you've chosen to write with, and you are going to make a horizontal line wherever you are. You're going to write the word summary and highlight it. And then for the summary, you do need to write the complete sentences and fill in the blanks. Sometimes people just want to write the answer in the blanks. That's really not very helpful in terms of how your brain learns, just to see some floating vocabulary words at the bottom of a page. So, of course, I would like you to use your notes and study from them and use them as a resource. However, even if you don't, which I would like you to, but even if you don't, the actual act of writing these sentences at the end of the lesson helps your brain remember the information. So I think it is valuable and it is required, and it is 2 points of the note grade. Each note is 10 points. So please make sure that you are writing the complete sentence and filling in the blanks. A number is rational if. A number is rational if. So that first blank, if, it can be written as a fraction. That is our definition. Can be written as a fraction. Blank, blank, and decimals that blank or blank are rational. Kind of got cut off. So I will pause, give you a second, and I want you to look back at your notes. Look back at your vocabulary. We had 4 bullet points. What were those 4 bullet points? And fill those in. Blank, blank, the first 2 bullet points. So the first blank should be integers. Integers, that's an E. Integers. Fractions, that was the second bullet point. And decimals that end, if you want to say terminate, or repeat with a repeating pattern, are rational. So that's the second sentence. Integers, fractions, and decimals that end or repeat are rational. A number is irrational if blank and blank. Think about even number 8 here on this same slide. What were the 2 things that had to be there for a number to be irrational? So the answer is if it goes on. That's really messy. Let me try that again. If it goes, let me zoom in a little. If it If it goes, there we go, on forever. So if it never ends, it has the dot, dot, dot. That's the first thing we're looking for. And it has no pattern, no repeating pattern. So it has to have both of those to be irrational. It has to go on forever, and it has no pattern. Okay, so that is the end of our rational and irrational numbers video and lesson. And I hope now you feel comfortable explaining if a number is rational or irrational and why. Thank you for watching.